Oh, welcome back. Today I shall review one of my favorite bands' new releases from this year. It's called Primus Green Naugahyde, and you'll enjoy it. Wow. Wow is all I have to say. Now, I wasn't into Primus from the very beginning. I can tell you, the first time I heard it, I was about 8 or so, and it was Too Many Puppies. And I'm 8, and when you hear too many puppies are being shot in the dark, you start to laugh. I didn't take it too seriously. But then I got into them, I think it was last year around this time, and I've been mowing through them. The bass is what grabbed me, and then I started to look at the drumming and the guitar, and it all works so perfectly. The Brown album and Antipop didn't have Tim Herb Alexander, but I still like them. They still had that Primus feel, which, by the way, that's Primus thing. So I was pumped to hear that the first new actual full album that they are making is coming out this year, and this was the year that I really got into them. So I was excited. It was a week after my birthday it came out too. But I didn't get it till a while. I was kind of pissed. But I had to order it over online because we don't have a CD place. I wonder why. It's not like anyone doesn't buy CDs. Anyway, I'm not going to go through this on a track-by-track basis. Now, as I've said before, this is a great album, as you could have guessed. But there are a couple problems I have with it. The biggest problem is that all the other Primus albums, they had a certain theme to them. Frizzle Fry was heavy. Sailing the Seas of Cheese was quite fun and lighthearted for the most part. Pork Soda was dark. Very dark. I didn't like Tales from the Punch Bowl. But avoiding that, Brown album was kind of jazzy and blues. Antipop was kind of back to the heavy stuff with a little pop influence mixed in. This doesn't have a consistent theme with it. It jumps from dark to lighthearted to silly, back to philosophical, some songs even. Now, there are a couple highlights from this album, being the whole album one, but if you had to pick 2 songs from this album, I would say listen to Last Salmon Man and either More on TV or Lee Van Cleef, and those will pretty much tell you the whole album. Now, they do have the regular intro and outro songs that they have on regular Primus albums, like Pork Chop's Little Ditty, the full and short version. On this album, it's Prelude to a Crawl before Hennepin Crawler, and Salmon Men to Exit. On other albums, it's been like To Defy the Laws of Tradition met with To Defy, Here Come the Bastards to Los Bastardos, etc., etc. So that is good to hear, because on Antipop there was the intro and Coattails of a Dead Man, but that was about it for filler. And don't get me wrong, I don't like the filler because it's not a real song, but it's good to know that Primus is back to its vibe. And there is one song that I do not like on this album, which is expected. I cannot expect to like all 13 songs on an album. It is called Green Ranger. It's quite repetitive, and it's not very imaginative in my eyes. It's the same drum riff over and over, and it's a good drum riff, but that's all I like about the song. Now, the biggest problem, again, is that there's no running theme. If you listen to Lee Van Cleef and then Jilly's on Smack, those songs, Lee Van Cleef is right after Jilly's on Smack, and it's not the same vibe. It's completely opposite end of the spectrum. Jilly's on Smack goes to depressing, suicidal, drug-addled, crazed teenager, and Lee Van Cleef goes to, you remember the good old days with the westerns and all the bouncy riffs. But I would recommend this album, very much so. If you like Primus, you'll like this. This might even be accessible for non-Primus fans. But I'd have to give this one of my highest recommendations.